That's crazy. I didn't even know. Like I've heard stuff about that before, but I never really. I don't know. Like I tried one before, and like I tried putting some music up with it, and it just gave me up like it MIDI that was just like all this jangled up noises, and it didn't really make any sense. It didn't sound like anything like the music I gave it to recreate. But
They're
so I guess it's like kind of tricky in that way. What did you use? Did how did you?
I went on to an online converter and I took all the Doom sound effects one by one and I ran them through this converter. Then I took the MP3s and I converted them back to Doom format, and then I put them in a WAD, and then I uploaded it. And like these MIDI converters are infamously bad
Yeah, that's what I.
at this point. So that's the joke. Is that everything's a MIDI.
What sound did you use? Did you use like an actual recording of a voice?
I just used, what do you mean? I just used the extracted each one.
Extracted what? I'm sorry, I missed what you said. I think.
I just used the Doom sound effects.
Turned them into MIDIs. Okay. Wow, that must have sounded crazy.
Yeah, no. It's yeah, MP3 MIDI. I'm getting
You
a little
used what? I'm
confused because you
sorry.
keep on cutting out for a bit.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Hard to tell, like, if you're talking or if there's just background noise.
Okay. So what sounds did you use? I'm sorry.
I used all of them.
From from what? The iWads?
That's why it's called Doom with MIDI converted sound effects.
Okay. I'm sorry. I wasn't really following what you were talking about. Okay. So you made this project with Doom with MIDI converted sound effects. So you took the sounds out of Doom and you created MIDIs out of them, right? Okay. I never tried it before, so I didn't know what you were talking about.
And then I took the MIDIs and I recorded them to WAV files, Doom sounds, then I put them in the WAD file.
Oh, okay. That's silly. That was a fun. That's a cool idea though. Like create with the Doom engine and stuff. Like just these crazy weird ideas that people come up with. What was the craziest like Doom modding that you've probably ever seen?
Archie. I don't know. It's about a man who likes Linux too much or something, and then he goes to a nightmarish geometric hellscape on Linux, I guess.
Okay, so that's like that's the plot of the game. So is it like a really heavily scripted like ZDoom mod type thing?
It's like a C script mod, and it's got very weird, like vast, surrealist environments.
Ooh.
And the, I, I don't know. I just still don't know how to parse it. It was the weirdest thing I ever played, and I didn't really finish it. I couldn't figure out how to beat it. I got stuck in the hover ship that flails around.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah, and I think the plot ended up where he was trying to destroy Linux so that he could be the only one who could run Linux or something.
That's crazy. I I know I played this one project Doom 2, and it's like it's a very old Doom wad, but it's a regular like vanilla Doom kind of map set, but all the textures they're just recolors of like Doom textures and stuff, but they're very like dark and very weird, and like a lot of them are really stretched out and creepy, and it's just a very strange very like abstract kind of world. He recreates all the graphics himself, and he just basically takes a whole bunch of Doom stuff and just kind of distorts it in some way. So he makes some textures like negative, and
Mhm.
colorful kind of place, and the levels are really confusing, and the switches are like made out of these like stretched out icon of sin textures and stuff, and it's really confusing to figure out, like just this weird like spacey abstract kind of place. When I played it, I just felt like I was on a different planet. It just felt unlike anything I've ever played before, and it was so creepy. And I played another WOD similar to that, called which is kind of similar to it. It's got like that same kind of style, but it's a Doom 1 megawatt. A lot of really distorted sound effects in it, so it's like really difficult to listen to. It's hard to play with the sound turned on. Really like really colorful textures and stuff too, and it's supposed to resemble like a nightmarish type of environment. So it's like something that's like a weird like dreamland.
Oh,
But it's also something that was made in 1994, so like a lot of stuff kind of like kind of applies as being like a weird abstract dreamland just by virtue of being a weird looking level.
yeah.
But it's just a very strange, very, I don't know. It's really tough to describe in that way because it's aesthetically it's confusing.
Sounds interesting, but actually playing it, I'm not sure how enjoyable it'd be.
I didn't get very far into it. With Mike Belcher's Doom, I really wanted to push through it, so I did get through it, but it took me a long time. Like I spent like 45 minutes per map, like an hour and a half, just like figuring out what to do. But the level design is very unusual. Like it's got a lot of like really tall like ceilings and stuff. So there's some places where you ride an elevator and you're literally on it for like just because it goes up so high. And in Doom these days, like there's not a lot of people are like pushing the limits, I guess.
Well, I mean, not a lot of people want to be on an elevator for a minute. At least not with Snake Eater playing in the background.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, later for that long, but I do kind of have an appreciation for stuff like that when things are kind of extreme in that way. Well, it's just, I mean, it's not really meant to be played in that way,
It's
but
just
that is such an extreme amount of monsters at once.
someone knew they could, so they did it.
Yeah, and in that way, it's just kind of breathtaking in that way.
Yeah.
I like that. I like those like kind of extreme type projects. I've always been fascinated with really extreme stuff. Like I've seen remember like this one example is I found this video of this video game called World in Conflict, which is this real-time strategy modern warfare. So what you do is you command an army and you can build tanks and build fighter jets and stuff like that. And in this game, you can launch a nuke. Scenario that he was able to create where he launched 30 nukes at once. So in this location where he targeted this like city that was with 30 nukes at once, and the game just slowed to a crawl because it just couldn't handle that many nukes, and just like it was down to like a third of a frame per second. All the smoke clouds and fire on the screen at once, and everything was so bright you couldn't see anything. And by the time all the smoke cleared, there was just this ginormous crater of like 30 craters just layered on top of each other, and it was just this whole like ridiculous sight just to imagine something like that happening in real life.
Oh, everyone would die everywhere.
The whole world would just be covered in radiation.
Yeah, like the anglerfish would inherit the earth down into the Mariana Trench.
There's other crazy scenario stuff too. Like I saw this one video a long time ago of this game Crisis. You've probably heard of that, right? You've heard of Crisis?
That's the one Doom stole the mantling from.
it's kind of like that. It was like at the time it was made, it was supposed to be like this game that like tested your computer specs because it required
Is
like
it good?
it. And I remember seeing videos of it, and I was really cynical at the time. I didn't at the time it was made. I didn't like pretty much any game that wasn't Doom. I only liked Doom. But at the time it came out, I didn't play it, but I saw people talking about it, and they said how great it was. I saw was it was like this custom level that somebody made where they stacked like 50,000 there, and he just blew them all up, and you could just watch the engine, like you could watch all these barrels just crumble and just blow up into all kinds of different explosions, and the barrels would just fly everywhere, and it was just this like ridiculous, just test scenario, like like in like you've heard of Gary's mod, right?
Actually, yeah, that was pretty popular back in like 2008, 2011.
And it's basically just kind of like this testament to Half-Life 2's physics engine, where you just kind of these little creations and stuff, and people would do these crazy things.
Yeah.
And,
people would make like bad animations.
yeah, I like seeing that kind of stuff where people just kind of like take advantage of whatever the game resources that has. Easy with it, like in Doom 2, how you have like barrels of fun, where it's just hundreds of barrels in a row, and that's just the map. You just you just run through these.
It's testament to Sandy's design.
Yeah, like
it's the map.
That's all it is. You just kind of like outrun all these barrels, and that's the map. And there's really no reason for it to exist. But that's part of that's part of the charm of it. You're just kind of exploring what this, and that's one of them is 1,000 barrels at once.
Any other game, and that'd be a secret level. Like Mario World, that'd be in in the special zone.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But even Mario does like some pretty crazy stuff. I mean, like there's they got haunted houses and stuff, and
in terms of like out there-ness, because if you look at the special world, it's like sort of exploity and weird.
Right. Yeah, I mean Mario does some like weird stuff sometimes, but yeah, you're right. Like relatively, like that would be like a secret level and something like that. But that like kind of like gamey type stuff where it's like it doesn't have to make sense. You know what I mean? Like I like that kind of stuff. It doesn't really matter if it makes sense. It just needs to be fun. I do see like a little bit more of that lately now that kind of like Slaughterfest genres are kind of taken off. So like people are kind of creating things where there's like an unrealistic amount of monsters that you have to kill. I mean, there really is no realistic amount of monsters you have to kill in Doom, but you like set up in like these like huge battalion, these huge like platoons of monsters in a row where they're like organized in like this whole like stormtroopers like March of Death type kind of like situation.
Yeah.
But stuff is fun for me. I do like to see realistic stuff too. I like all kinds of different kinds of genres in Doom,
Yeah.
I just like to see what you can come up with.
What about 2D platformers?
Of them, but I do have an appreciation for them. So like for one example is I love Contra. Contra, the first one that was for the NES, and I also like the Contra 3 for Super Nintendo too. But
I was always more into hardcore than 3. There's something about 3 rubbed me the wrong way.
Right, yeah, Contra Hardcore. So I forgot about that one. That's for the Sega Genesis, the Sega 32X rather.
Yeah. That one was weird though. There's like a cyborg werewolf or something weird like that in it.
What was that about? Like, what were they trying to? They like added new characters.
They added like a man, they added a lady, and then they added like the cyborg wolfman thing, and I don't know why he's there. Don't know the explanation. They also had kind of a story,
Yeah, I don't know what the story is though. I didn't get very far into the game. I know I played a little bit. I got up to like there's like I don't know. I forget how many stages there are, but I know there's like you start off in like the city that's under attack. Is you're on like a bike or like a hover bike type thing, and you're traveling to like this. Oh wait, it's not even linear, is it? Right? Because you can like pick.
I think so.
You kind of like choose your adventure. So like after every level, you like pick. Like you can go like after. I remember like after like you fight the first boss, there's this guy who's like his name's like Robo Joe or something like that, and you can either like chase him or you can go to or you can take a shortcut to like where you think he's going to go. Always take the same path because like Contra is kind of like that. It's you get tired of dying a lot, so you kind of have to like memorize what you're trying, like what the enemies' attack patterns are. So I didn't spend too much time like figuring out the different level progressions you can take. I just kind of stuck with it. Um, when you pick different characters, there's like dialogue and stuff in between, like in between missions, where you like talk to the bosses like after you kill them, and
I think so.
So like, sorry for the werewolf guy.
Imagine if you talked to the cyber demon after you blew him up. It's like the little dialogue box comes off the hooves. You probably just
you have defeated me, and you've defeated my minions.
It's just an ad for Quake.
Yeah. That would be weird. That Doom doesn't have that kind of dialogue, because I can bet it would be really corny, and that would kind of like ruin the spirit for me. Because like Doom is like funny in that way because it's so abstract. You can kind of make up your own story as you play it. You know what I mean? Because when these games do have like kind of built-in stories, you just kind of follow along with it. Like it tells you what the story is, and you just kind of follow along with it, and it doesn't deviate far from that because it creates its own atmosphere and its own rules and stuff like that with the story. But with Doom, it just kind of.
Still, I'm really upset that 3DO Doom didn't get those FMVs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because that's like all 3DO games, right? They all have like those full motion videos.
Yeah. Did you see the pitch images they made?
Are you talking about that one with the with it kind of had like that Baron of Hell with the that like it was like the weird costume, and it's like
the weird Baron cyber demon thing.
Yeah.
And like he kidnaps Lady or whatever.
Oh my god, that was ridiculous. I can't believe they made that. It's so weird.
I wish they would have been able to do that, because it like, can you imagine something else really weird besides a Doom comic?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the Doom comic is so weird in itself. Is there any video of that?
Yeah. No, I don't think they ever made it. I think they just made the pitches. They like made the pitch images to get investor money. And then the investors took one look at it and were like,
there's got to be video of it somewhere. They had to have recorded something. I guess it's not on YouTube. I never really looked that hard for it, but I never found out about it on YouTube either.
Yeah, 3DO Doom is just strange. It's very it just kind of happened, and then it wasn't very good.
Yeah. It does have good music though.
Recorded by a Christian band apparently, and made Christian rock.
Yeah, that is kind of strange, but it's one of my it's like one of my favorite. You know,
it's very unique.
Yeah, it is unique. It's got like I especially like the E1M1 track, because it's kind of like it's got like this
It
weird.
sounds evil.
Be charged up because it's kind of it's almost like it's kind of like music you would hear in like an action movie where there's like a car chase. It's kind of got it's like I don't know, it's got like those cool like guitar solos and stuff.
Yeah, I like the E1M2 remix because it's spooky.
Yeah,
And it's got sort of a gothic sound to it.
yeah, it's creepy.
The bells.
I I don't know. I don't really like that many Doom music remixes that come out.
Yeah,
Pretty good ones.
but a lot of them are just kind of like what I like to call guitar mush, like mixing. So a lot of it is just like every instrument is a guitar, and then there's loud drums, so it just comes out like really flat and mushy.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Like big gripe with most Doom music remixes that they pretty much come in two different kind of flavors. There's basically the heavy metal type style, where
there's like MIDI with sound fonts.
right, yeah, it's like it's almost like this like kind of like technical electronic type stuff, and that's pretty
I
much
thought you meant just like all the remixes that were like you just took the original MIDI, the instruments a bit, and it's like this is different now.
not that great. I mean, because like remixes, when you do a remix, you should be like making, you should
make it your own.
Right, yeah, you should be making it your own. Exactly, you should be like kind of splicing the tracks together to make something complete, like not completely different, but true to its original form. But I don't know. I don't have that much experience with audio engineering, so I don't know a whole lot. But I do know when I'm listening to something that just sounds kind of,
Yeah.
and like what you described, like where it's kind of these like music tracks that are they're just the original MIDIs with a different sound font applied to it, and it's just kind of hokey, you know. What I was going to say is that like my gripe with like most like Doom music remixes is that they like a particular artist will do like a remix of every track in their own style. So like if someone's like if someone plays guitar themselves, they'll like record their own covers of of Doom music, and then they'll have like these metal versions of something like E1M2, which is kind of like a creepy track, which
And then
is really supposed to be death metal, and they'll do that, and they'll make it like a death metal version of it, and it just sounds kind of weird. It's bad. I mean, sometimes they do a really good job, but it doesn't sound like what it's supposed to sound like, and it doesn't like apply to the kind of map that you would play it in. Like that tone and that mood of the music is important, right?
Yeah. But I mean, like, it's rarely ever the other way around. Like, I've never heard a creepy remix of E1M1.
Exactly. Yeah. I wonder what that would even sound like. But I bet somebody could do it if they really thought about it. Because there's so much good music around, and so many people do some pretty amazing stuff with music. I'm sure there could be a possible like remix of E1M1 in a way that would like really get under your skin and like really
Like, series of remixes I really like, though, are the Lorcan remixes of the TNT soundtrack.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I've heard this before.
Yeah, because there's a lot of extra flair and liberties taken to it, which makes it really interesting to listen to, especially whenever like a lot of like there's usually like sort of an electronic lean, but at a time just also a lot of like tribal sound to it. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it is. You're right. It's a kind of it's got that flair to it. It's just it just has more energy behind it. It's cool. Much like music editing yourself? Do you do like have you like recorded any music before or anything or like tracked music before?
I've done some like dark ambient tracks. I mean, like a pack for that kind of stuff. Once,
Really? Do you do them in MIDI form?
no, I do it all like in Audacity, change it.
Do you where do you get like your samples from when you make those tracks?
I just make them. I just like take like weird sounds, like or like just like cups or
Oh, so
just
do
like
you record them yourself? You record the sound and then you make music out of it?
yeah, marks.
It's dark ambient stuff, so like what constitutes as music is, I guess that's up to debate if you,
It's spooked.
but like if you listen to something like PSX Doom's music, like that has kind of that ambient, I still consider that to be music to some degree, you know?
Well, I mean, with the first PSX Doom, like Doom One, there's kind of a melody to some of the tracks in a way.
Some of them, especially like the one that comes to mind for me is the first level of Doom 64 staging area. Like that kind of has a beat to it almost. Like it's noises, but it also has like kind of a repetitive, like has like a little bit of a melody.
Yeah, like especially like sort of the mid levels in Doom 64, which some of them seem to call back to the main theme in a way, like the title
Yeah, a
theme.
little bit.
It's just me hearing stuff, or because I managed to
Yeah,
make a leitmotif ambient.
that music's really interesting. I'd like to talk to Aubrey Hodges sometime, and he does post on Doom World Forum sometime. And maybe I probably could get a hold of him.
From what I've seen, he's well, he's appeared on one podcast before, and from what I've seen, he's really dedicated to like his the method and like putting emotion behind the music,
Yeah,
which is why like which is why he always locks himself into like his music dungeon whenever he makes those songs.
come on,
I
because
don't
I'd like to check
remember. I think he linked to it on his site.
go for it.
Yeah,
That's cool though. I'd like to get him on the show and like talk to him, but I don't really music, and I'd probably I actually there's more people on Doom World who know like the PSX Doom music better than I do because I have I mean I've heard I've played through Doom 64, so I've heard the music before, but I couldn't like pick out which track is which. Like if you picked a random track from Doom 64 or PSX Doom or something, I wouldn't be able to tell you what map it
I
was
could
for.
probably I could probably tell you like the first one, but that's about it.
Yeah, because it kind of blurs together, but it's I mean it's all different.
Oh wait, there's also the E2M1, I think, theme, which is like the roaring.
Yeah, I
If you speed that up like 300 times, it's actually two people playing ping pong, and then like
that's crazy.
uh,
I didn't even know that, but
maybe you should ask him who Danny is.
where did it come from?
Hmm?
Like how did you like how did, who was
Yeah, I'm not getting any of that.
oh what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. But I asked who is Danny?
It's like when in the E2M1 theme for it's like the two people playing ping pong, and then one of them like screams Danny won.
Whoa, I never.
Yeah,
How
that's
did
what
you find out about this? Did you like speed the track up yourself
I
to
saw a
find out?
video on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So somebody like sped up the track and they could hear these like
Yeah,
distinct things. Are there other like fun facts and stuff like that in there too? In his music?
I don't think there's really that many Easter eggs like that, other than
Yeah,
you could probably
because
determine
I know.
which sound stuff came from, but I think that one's a standout just to how like basic it is and how it's like basically the entire song. People playing ping pong. It's like, who are they? Did he like go to like the just hang out there for a while?
Hmm. Yeah. I wonder if he just kind of like floated around the office and just like picked up like any kind of noise he could find, like with like a microphone or something, and just used those as samples because he was just like running out of stuff because there's so many levels in Doom, and he has like a distinct track for every one.
Yeah.
I guess like at a certain point you just start running out of stuff and you don't want to keep reusing the same things over and over. That's funny.
Oh, on the podcast, he also explained why they used tracker music instead of just streaming off the disc. For that is
That's
because they're already streaming the levels off the disc, so they couldn't use Redbook audio.
Yeah, it would be awesome to have Aubrey Hodges on the show. But I want to get like I want to have somebody who understands music better than I do because I'm kind of a musical retard. I've tried to make midis and stuff before, but I just can't get the timing right to make the music that I want to make.
I think that,
No sense of pitch, so I can't like get the sound. Like I can like hum a tune in my head, it in MIDI, and I've tried so many times, and like I can like think of like cool guitar riffs and stuff, but I can't make it. I just suck at it. Given up on music, and I've never really. But there's a lot of people on Doom World who like know music better than I do, so it would be interesting to if I'm gonna have somebody like Aubrey Hodges, I would probably have to have like a third person to talk about it with him, to like ask him the right kinds of questions and like find out what people want to
well,
know.
that person won't be me because the only instrument I can play is the automaton, and I
What's an automaton? I never even heard of that.
I don't know how to music.
Yeah, but you were talking about how you made these like ambient like music tracks yourself. So what is how many tracks have you made so far?
I think I made about, I'd say, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's good. Do you know if anybody has used them so far?
Have I used them? I think a couple people use them in like their own packs. Like I think made a pack, but yeah, other than that, I'm not really sure.
I'm glad people. It's cool that being a part of this community, like with Doom, there's so many like different avenues that you can help. Like even if you can't, like for someone like me, I suck at making music, so I don't even bother with that. But there's other people who in the community who do, and if I get in contact with those types of people, they'll help make music for my projects if that's what they're interested in doing. You if you can't do something like if you can't do something some like really well, like let's say if you wanted to make like a megawatt or something, but you suck at making maps, you need to get yourself to make the kind of maps that you want to make. Well, you can still do something else. Like maybe you could make graphics or textures or sprites or something, and you can help somebody who is working on a project who might need those types of assets that they're not capable of making themselves. And that way we can all like kind of come together and make these awesome projects together because everybody gets to do something that they're good at.
Yeah.
Somebody who can like make music, that's awesome because people can just kind of grab the music that they think is good and they can use it in their maps, and that way you help them make something that's important for that part of their, because music is really powerful for the experience. Like everybody, like if you played PlayStation Doom, like it has that kind of music. I mean there's other things that contribute to that too, but the music especially is really makes the game like feel spooky in that way. And if you didn't have the music, I mean, if I'm a level designer and I don't know how to make that kind of music, I wouldn't be able to create that vibe. Make that kind of music, you contribute to that experience. And I've seen like some of the graphics and stuff. I mean, like when I talked to you before we started this episode, you sent me that private message and you made me like that that like little comical drawing of like a 40-ounce bottle. That's awesome. People got to see that, by the way. I should post that on the thread so people can see that. That was awesome.
Go ahead.
So like if you can do like cool like little graphics and stuff like that, I'm sure like people can make a use out of it, even if like you intended to use it. But if you can make like little resources and stuff like that, you're useful to the community in that way. You know what I mean?
I was thinking of making like a Art Deco sort of texture pack.
What would you do? You would make like props or something?
Well, I mean, you know, the architectural style Art Deco. So basically what you'd see on like the older buildings, like the Empire State Building, and
like that modifies the art assets in Doom?
Sort of, well, I mean, just like a standard texture pack.
Resource that people can use in their own maps. Okay. It's good that you're doing that, because it's cool that we have like these resource packs that we can use. Because I mean, we probably wouldn't have as many great projects as we do today if people didn't just, you know, like blindly make stuff that's useful. You know what I mean? Like if you look at something like Gothic Death Matches. You probably played. Have you heard of that project before?
Yeah, it's
okay. That has like its own special texture pack.
But Gothic.
It's got like the inverted crosses and the metal and the arches and the stained glass and stuff like that. If somebody didn't make that, we wouldn't have all the great maps that we have for it. You know what I mean? Because it didn't make all the textures. So if they had to make the maps themselves, they would probably have to use like stock Doom assets, and it probably wouldn't have looked as good. But because like we can kind of work together and like have people that can do some things really well and some things not as well, we can all like find our place, you know?
I guess.
Or like making graphics or making maps or making sounds or anything. Like there's all kinds of stuff that's useful in some way. Too lately, do you have like any projects that you're working on that you'd like to promote a little bit?
Yes. Well, right now, I'm working on a 2D platformer in the Doom engine, starring Waluigi and every other like ripped model I can find.
I think I've seen screenshots for that. I think you posted that on the Post Your Doom picture thread, right?
Yeah, I've made a lot of progress since then. I've also added like a cart section where like the cart aligns the slopes, it has like acceleration and deceleration, and you can like swing like a sword and attack on either side.
So you like ride on a cart? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You ride on like a mining cart? Okay, and it's like, so this is a project that you're working on, and or is it still pretty far from done?
It's still pretty far from done. I still need to finish the first level.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Before I can at least put out like a demo and then like maybe finish the cart part.
A unique idea. I haven't really seen that approach before. Like there is like the Pogo engine, which is kind of like a two-dimensional thing for Doom. But I haven't really seen much beyond that. I've also seen like somebody Doom Arrow recreated Mortal Kombat in Doom. really, but I never actually played it. It looked really cool though. It was like a very almost like one-to-one recreation of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, and it was all written in ACS, which
Crazy.
it's like I'm lucky because I started this project in like when ZScript came around, making anything like in ACS.
I don't know much about programming. I done a little bit of like dehacked, like ACS or ZScript, but I assume ZScript is easier than ACS then.
Well, ZScript is actually made for models, actors. You know, it's like a like the it's like decorate. ACS is just like the scripting that Hexen used for its levels to like move platforms or spawn stuff. That kind of
Oh,
just got
okay.
hijacked to do a bunch of other actor control. ACS is really like really kind of hacky and really hard to like work with other stuff.
Okay. But ZScript is
It's like that.
what you're trying to do.
I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Um,
when it comes to like programming languages, that's like that gets like really complicated really quick. But
yeah, I'm also work.
I'm glad you're getting something done and actually like working on this cool project. It's a really fascinating idea, and there's not a lot of other people doing anything similar to that, which is especially cool. Yeah,
I'm also.
what else are you working on? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm also working on Deem 2, which this time around will be an actual thing with gameplay. And I'm thinking of something like a little more open, like kind of explory. Like I've already got area out, and it makes heavy use of plane portals.
Oh, nice.
Like, areas on top of each other, in really interesting ways.
That's cool, man. I'm glad you're using those. Like, you seem to, from the screenshots and stuff I've seen that you've, because I've seen like a little bit of that Waluigi thing. I remember you posting some pictures about it. That like you're kind of interested in like these scripting languages and stuff, and you're creating some pretty cool stuff. Because that stuff, like that, the programming and stuff, that is not my avenue at all. I have I have no idea what any of that is. So all of my maps are strictly like Doom vanilla type stuff. Have a lot of experience doing things that are outside of the actual Doom engine. So that's cool to see that like you're kind of creating these new things that are not necessarily to original Doom in that way, but you're like kind of exploring like these new avenues that aren't really tapped into that much. Because a lot of people are kind of going, a lot of people are like provoked to stick with like the original. I can see why people do that because you kind of have to understand the original Doom engine to be able to understand the rest of it. But that's not always true because I can see that you're doing your own thing with with these projects and creating like these entirely new environments and effects and stuff that you don't usually see in traditional Doom, like megawads and stuff, like our classic megawads and stuff.
Yeah. Um,
So,
well, the main thing is I'm kind of like really passionate about like old 3D platformers and 2D platformers, like specifically like sort of the PS2 sort of Genesis era.
okay. So like Crash Bandicoot and stuff like that, and like let's see, PS2. Talking about earlier, like Ratchet and Clank and stuff like that.
So it's also a big inspiration for like any of the weapons I'm really interested in. Design and visual design for those games is really but it's really tight. I like it's got a very sort of industrial meaty feel to it.
Do you find Doom to be like a really good platform for modding, for like kind of creating your own? kind of video game creations?
Yeah. In terms of everything, like in terms of like physics, it's really limiting. But in terms of like doing like geometry and doing like basic stuff, it's pretty it's pretty good.
It's flexible. I mean, it does a lot of different things. Good. I mean, because like we have these source ports that give you so much control. I mean, people are like creating their own games from scratch, and I mean, there's all kinds of different stuff. I'm going to think of some examples, but I mean, there's all kinds of like full, like complete, total conversions of stuff that kind of made Doom into like this entirely new game.
Yeah.
That's such a cool thing that like Doom is like still like that like user friendly as far as like being like a modding platform.
Well, a lot of the thanks goes to like the tools, which is they're out there.
Yeah, they really are. And I just love designing levels because I like drawing the shapes and stuff and turning them into rooms and making them look as cool as I can possibly make them. And just kind of like sculpting these environments and all kinds of stuff like that. It's so quick and easy to do too. Because I've most of my maps don't take very long for me to make. I think I have spent a really long time making maps, but like my best maps they usually only take me about 4 to 6 hours. And it's pretty amazing that I can make like a pretty fun level in that amount of time.
Yeah. A lot of the maps I've made for community projects, I only take like 2 days for.
Yeah.
Like, why do my projects take like months just to get something finished then? I think it matters. I think the thing it comes down to caring too much about something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's unhealthy if you throw something together.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because like when I was making like birthday maps and stuff, I didn't think that much of it. It was just kind of
I'll do this nice thing.
yeah. But like when you're working on something that's like when it becomes like your baby and you want to like take care of it and make sure it's perfect, you do like UAC Ultra 2, for example. That's basically my baby, and I've been working on that for many years. I'm not even it made me like I'm getting like pretty close to like making like pretty solid progress on it. But it still makes me wonder if I'm like maybe in like a few months from now I'm gonna look at it and be like, this is shit. I have to start over.
Maybe
You know?
maybe this is a case where it's good to be a distant father.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know though. Like if people do, I don't know. If you do spend a long time on something, that in case of like my maps, if I spend a very long time on it, that's usually not a good sign. Because I very rarely spend weeks on a map and it actually turns out to be pretty good, or it actually turns out to be much better than what I normally make, which only takes a few hours. Spending more time on it is a good thing or a bad thing. Like More Death, for example, that's been in development hell for, well, I don't know if it's been in development hell, but allegedly so many years. So does that mean it's going to be like amazing when it comes out? We don't really know.
And there's probably been so many like rejected and restarted maps from More Death 2. They probably could have just released them and had like 3 more deaths on their own.
And it's a shame that happens, because I think some people, I've heard of many people who like start their own Megawad projects, but then we never actually hear about them finishing it.
Yeah.
I kind of hung up on like making their project perfect. We might lose a lot of like even just like halfway decent stuff that they might have just released on their own, like you said. But it does happen, and I don't really know what to do about it, because if it's your project and you love it and you want to make sure it's perfect, it's your prerogative to decide whether it's done or not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would like to see more people releasing more stuff instead of like focusing on their own projects and leaving them in development hell for so long.
Yeah. It's kind of why I like deadlines.
Yeah, yeah, deadlines, exactly. Like motivate you to get something done within an amount of time, and that way you
Yeah,
can kind of, because like once you finish a project, it's such a huge relief because you get that kind of weight off your shoulders about, because like I know this from experience. If I work on a project and then
Right.
one, you just kind of like carry all this weight, and then you're like, oh my god, I have all this stuff I have to finish, and it's just like so much stress, you know. But if you actually like start releasing stuff, it's like a huge weight off your shoulders. Deadlines where you kind of like commit to getting something done within an amount of time, that opens you up to other projects that you might have ideas for.
And then you get stuck in hell again.
You get in this vicious cycle where you're just constantly working on stuff and then not finishing it and then quitting and then starting something else, and uh, such as the the motif of Doom World.
Yeah. Sometimes code is better than like an actual structured project because at least with
Yeah.
the former, you just kind of throw something out and then it's good.
Hmm. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to talk specifically about on the show before we wrap it up?
Well, have you heard of Dwarf Fortress? Oh well, it's sort of an RTS sort of fantasy world story simulator world generator thing.
Did you say Dwarf Fortress?
At Dwarf Fortress.
Okay, Dwarf Fortress. I know a little bit about that because I talked a little bit with Dark Nation about it. He told me a little bit about it. So what did you want to talk about specifically in that?
Oh, just want to know if you just want to kind of want to let you know about it. But since you're already familiar with it, you know.
Sound really cool. Have you played it yourself?
Yes.
Do you play it a lot?
Not so much. I'm kind of waiting for the new release to come out that adds in the artifact negotiation stuff, where like people can come in and then they'll be like, "Give us your stuff," and you can either like send them away, or you could give in and just give it to them and hope they leave.
That's pretty awesome. Do you have a favorite campaign?
Um, I think like the first several dozen attempts where everybody just kept on dehydrating because I didn't know how to build a well. And then like, the fortress as an adventurer, and like the dead mayor just immediately punched my head off as a ghost.
That's so funny. That game seems like really interesting just because of like the way like the storytelling elements and stuff in it.
Sort of dark humor to it.
That's pretty cool. I don't know. I don't know if I'll actually get a chance to play it because I assume it's a pretty
It's very confusing,
it's
and
confusing.
it took me like a couple days to even figure out how to not die in the first couple out like minutes. But once you get it done, it's like, oh, I know how to do this. But then it's a long like because you have to like manage stuff and you have to like actually have a goal. It takes up a lot of time, but I guess if I don't know.
At a time, man. I'm so busy these days, but I do look forward to the day that I retire, which may be when I'm like 60. And then I'll be able to pick up all these cool games again. I just
Well, maybe the game will be done by then.
like, all right. Well, okay. It was really good talking to you, man. It was a lot of fun
Yeah,
actually discussing all these cool topics. We covered a lot of stuff. Yeah. Um, a chance we should probably do another show another time. I have some other shows coming up. I talked to Looper recently, who's the guy who has the world speed record for Doom 2. With him sometime next week, I think. I talked to a couple other people too, but I'm still I got a lot of people that I'm talking to, but I still have to like work on actually like scheduling the episodes next. But a lot of cool people on Doom World that are around, and I'm going to be talking to some people outside of Doom World too. Dario Casale, I got an email from him today, and
Yep.
So yeah, we'll see where it goes. And thank you for being a fan, especially. I'm glad that you're. I really appreciate any kind of like criticism or advice you have for future episodes of the show, because I don't get a whole lot of it.
But mailbag. A mailbag. That's what you need. Even John Ferguson has that.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's got a talking skeleton. He's got to know something's right.
Yeah. Listen to the show and they're enjoying it. That's all that really matters to me. So thanks, Jaxxoon, for being on the show.
All right. Thanks for having me.
We'll probably talk another time.
All right.
Okay. Yo.